All right, so today I want to talk to you about my personal experience of living in Belmont, North Carolina. Some good, some of the bad, and I'll give you my honest opinion. Hey guys, I'm Kevin, and in this channel we'll talk about all things real estate in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the beautiful things that the city and surrounding areas has to offer. I'm also a licensed real estate agent, so if you have any questions in regards to real estate, I want to hear from you. Reach out to me. My phone number and email are below, so I look forward to hearing from you. And if you like the content in these videos, consider subscribing, give it a thumbs up. I will greatly appreciate it. Now let's check out this week's video. Now, what is it like living in Belmont, North Carolina? My wife Courtney and I moved here not too long ago from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She accepted a job here with a hospital in Gastonia as a physician. So we packed up our stuff, moved here. Since it's in Gastonia, we kind of wanted to be closer to the city, so we ended up moving to Belmont. So this is what we found so far. Now, full transparency, when we first moved here and I pulled up into the neighborhood, I was like, man, I am moving into the suburbs. Like, we lived in Midtown in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, Tulsa's not huge, but it's also not super small. But being in Midtown, you had easy access to walking to like food halls, to breweries, to restaurants, to all kinds of things, which were nice. So we kind of given it up. But being here for a little bit kind of opened my eyes to this type of living, and it's pretty nice. Now, one of the big things that makes Belmont attractive and why we chose to move here is the proximity to the airport. We like to travel, and it was one of Courtney, my wife's big deal is like, we gotta have, wherever we move, we gotta have access to a big airport that takes us to a lot of places, which already came in really handy in August when we went to Germany. My mom actually flew here from Oklahoma. She had a long layover. I literally just went 15 minutes up the road, picked her up, took her back to our house. She hung out with us for a little bit. We all packed up our stuff, went back to the airport 15 minutes later, parked the car, and flew off to Germany with a direct flight. Shout out to direct flights. They're fantastic. Now, another nice thing about living in Belmont is the easy commute into the city off of I-85 and also anywhere else, because it kind of branches off from there, which I had a recent listing and it was all the way up in Morrisville, and they said, hey, can I come up today to sign the paperwork? And I said, yeah, no problem. So 45 minutes later, I was in Morrisville and we got it done. So and even with my wife, we like to go inside the city because we want to try these nice little restaurants and the bars that they have to offer. So it's really easy. Like I said, hop on 85 and yeah, you're pretty much there. So we're enjoying it. And also, Belmont is just a cute town. Like, the first time we came here, when Courtney had her interview for the hospital she's working at, we pretty much came to Belmont a couple of times and we went to that little downtown area. And the downtown area, it just has a good vibe. It's so nice. It's not big, obviously, but it just has a lot of character. And they actually have some good foods, some nice little bars, a coffee shop. I love coffee, so if there's a good coffee shop, it's definitely a huge plus for me, because I always look out mom and pop coffee shops. Where can I buy the beans so I can grind my own beans in the morning to make my pour over. So I get a little bougie with coffee. So yeah, that downtown area it's pretty nice and it's very walkable, and we actually spend a good amount of time there and actually invite friends to come out. So definitely check it out. And speaking of the restaurants, my wife and I actually found one. It's called the String Bean, and that restaurant is just awesome. I mean, I also like burgers, almost like I like my coffee. And their burgers is like, their ground beef is infused with bacon, and that flavor is just like, oh my God, it's so freaking good. So I've been there several times since, and every time people come over, that's where we go, and I tell them, hey, you should definitely try the burger. But my wife had other things, and she's not a big burger person, but she always bites my burger. So, well, she says she doesn't like burgers, but hey, what do I know? But you can pretty much pick any of the meats that they have, and they can just make it for you. It's pretty awesome. So if you find yourself in Belmont, check that one out. There's also Everyday Market. you should definitely check that one out too. It's a cool little place. They have some cool little sandwiches, some good wine. Actually, have some good cake. I had tried their cheesecake and their carrot cake, and they're both really fantastic. So there's some good stuff to eat here. And Honeycomb Cafe, we had brunch there the other day. It was pretty good, and it's a cool little vibe. So Belmont has a lot to offer. What can I say? Another thing is, I recently got into mountain biking. When I moved here, I was like, hey, there's gonna be a lot more greenery, a lot more outdoor activities. What can I get into? And I thought back about my childhood memory, and I was like, you know what, back in the day, mountain biking was a lot of fun. Like in Germany, we have a lot of like trails through the woods where I went to the next neighboring town to visit my friends, and I was like, mountain bikes will be fun. So I got a mountain bike, absolutely love it, and come to find out, there's literally a trail in riding distance from my house, which if it's a nice day and I want to take a quick break, I would literally hop on my bike and then hit the trail. It is such a good time, such a blast, really good workout, and yeah man, it's absolutely fantastic. Now also when it comes to real estate, yes, the prices are not as bad as they are in Charlotte, but it's getting a little bit more pricey in the city of Belmont, but overall not as bad depending on where you want to live in Charlotte as far as the comparison in price goes. But the neighborhood, for example, where we live, the lot sizes are actually a little bit bigger, and it's not so cookie cutter. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely some new developments. They are a little bit more cookie cutter, but it's the neighbors just have a little bit more charm. They just look cute. It reminds you of like a small town neighborhood, and my wife really loves it. Again, like we lived in Midtown Tulsa, which was awesome. It was very walkable. So moving out into a little bit like the suburbs and then seeing that comparison, she's becoming quite the fan, and I have a feeling that's kind of what's going to be here to stay. So it's great. Now, some of the downsides, and there's really not many from my personal experience so far, is that one, it is still a small town. Yes, as cute as it is, as charming as it is, and as much of nice places that it has, it is limited, right? You're not going to have a ton of options like you do in the city. So every time you do want to try something new, or at most events you might want to go to, they're going to be in the city, you're just going to have to make that 25-minute drive, which is not a big deal, but it's just something to consider. So, which leads me into the other negative side, is when you go into Charlotte, a lot of times it can be fine except like in the mornings, but coming back on 85, it is a nightmare. Like sometimes it's just like always, as soon as like 2 or 3 p.m. hits, and it lasts all the way until like in the evening times, you're gonna hit some traffic and you're gonna be stuck, and you have to add that time to your commute home. So if you want to go into the city, you sometimes want to plan it, because on the way back you're gonna hit traffic. Traffic is never fun. Nobody likes it. It brings out the worst in us. But that's definitely some of the downfalls of living in Belmont. So that has been my experience living in Belmont so far. Not a lot of cons, a lot of pros. So I really like this town. I can definitely see myself being here long term. As much as I love the city and being in the city, also with my wife's job, that's probably where we're going to end up being for longer, which I'm totally fine with. And there's still lots to explore. We're really close to the lake, so there's that side that I still have to venture into and see what other trouble I can find. So I'll keep you guys posted.